on my cards, but I'm thinking about it here. I'm like, now that I think back to it, I don't think I really saw you lose this season. So what is Vanessa like when she loses? What, I mean, are you? I'm a sore loser. I'll be the first one. I don't like to fucking lose at games. I break mice. I pound stuff. I don't like to lose.
He makes shit up about how I play with the drunken master in DOA.
Exactly. Yeah, he does too. Weak. What does Vanessa do?
Number two.
I'm gonna get defensive here, guys. If you don't shit. Are you a sore loser? Do you just sort of like let it go? Like what?
It varies from time to time. Like sometimes I'm not a super sore loser. Like I'll be throwing bricks at the person, but a lot of times,
every once in a while.
A lot of times I just get really disappointed, and I kind of look back and I'm like, what did I do wrong? And you kind of examine everything.
Right.
But there are some times where I've gotten pissed and I've shown I got pissed, and those aren't very fun. And I just have sometimes I can be a bit of a little powder, and I'll just sit in my little corner and heave.
I think that's okay, actually. I think that you've actually achieved a little bit of diva status, especially in Dead or Alive 4. I think you deserve that, actually. So, let's see. Every time DOA came on, I mean, I'm sure that you were super excited to watch the match that was on. But one reaction I got from a lot of the other Championship Gaming Series players is that they found themselves liking games outside of what they played. Yeah. So, what was the game that you were surprised to go, oh, I'm surprised that I get excited when this game came on? What was any of those games?
Counter-Strike.
Really?
Yeah, I actually was getting into Counter-Strike, especially the match between, the final match between Chicago and New York. I don't know if you remember that one, but
yeah,
that
absolutely.
One was insane.
I'm actually shocked to hear you say Counter-Strike. And just traditionally, because if I had to take a wild guess, I would have probably said maybe FIFA, but that's very, very cool. Counter-Strike. Wow. So what interests you about Counter-Strike?
I was just usually seeing the teams, but usually the one that really piqued my interest was that match I mentioned about New York and Chicago, because I think it was New York was just completely dominating Chicago at first.
Right.
Then they go into the second set, and then Chicago was just going bam, bam, bam,
one
bam.
after another.
And then Mo was like, yeah, if they get to this point spread, then they'll have a chance to win it, but I don't see it going that far. And then he could go bam, 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 and it went into double overtime, and it could go in anybody's game. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting.
That's cool. So I would have never guessed that.
Yeah,
actually.
color me surprised on that one.
Yeah, you too, bro?
Yeah,
Rance?
definitely, man.
DJ? Production dude? Sorry, it's going to take me a while, Rance. I'm sorry.
It's okay, man.
What are your thoughts on some of the international franchises, and do you think that they will be able to take over the North American teams? And let me elaborate on this a little bit, because this has actually been a little theory of mine as well, is that the North American teams, Region 1, they played for a solid month. You guys played for a solid month in the big studios, in front of the lights and cameras, et cetera, et cetera. And you guys got a lot of experience, doing that and sort of, being able to phase it out. Yeah. Do you think that some of the other regions are at a slight disadvantage now, having to come to the World Championships and not really getting to experience that same level of production as the Region 1 guys did?
Yeah, I think so too, because we did have that solid month where we could play with our teammates and even actually other players of different teams. And for that whole month, we could just go, hey, let's train.
Right.
And with the other teams, it's kind of like they're throwing them into World Finals, and they're like, okay, you got 3 weeks or however long World Championships are going to be, and see what you can do for there. Where the North American, they're like, oh, I have this month back of practice, I'll just get back into it again.
Right.
So.
So would you not be surprised to see a North American team win the World Championships?
No, I wouldn't be surprised.
Not at all.
But I think that the other teams will do really well too. So it's kind of like anybody's game type thing.
Okay. Well, moving on. This is actually a user-submitted question. If the DOA series never existed, what game would you be playing? And do you think you would be as good at it as you are as Dead or Alive?
I'd probably be playing Marvel vs. Capcom too, and I was pretty decent. I didn't play the game right, as in the top players. There's the top tiers.
Right.
You have to use character assists, and that was more of the air combo type, pick lower tier type characters.
Yeah.
So it depend on if I switched up or
Do you think? Do you? And this is actually one of the things that we talked about lots during the initial season. Is that Sturmy was a guy that came from Quake.
Yeah.
He came from Unreal. Traditionally he was playing first-person shooters with keyboard and mice, and a lot of people gave him heavy criticism for oh well, you're not really a FIFA player, but he set out to prove people wrong because he was a gamer. He had those inherent skills. Do you feel like you have these inherent skills as well? I mean, obviously you've seen great success in Dead or Alive 4. Mm-hmm. Do you think if you had to, if all of a sudden there were no more Dead or Alives, do you think you would be able to move on to another game and see the same success?
I would hope so, but it wouldn't be shooters. I'll tell you that right now.
Definitely be like a fighting game or something.
You would not see me playing Halo. I'd be like, I got you. Oh, you're dead already.
But that's about how I am too.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go play in the amateur leagues because I suck.
Basically.
And we talked about this a little bit, but it wasn't necessarily DOA that ignited your fighting games. It was the 2D fighters really that ignited your fighting games. Have you seen the new Street Fighter high def remix that's coming out?
I saw some of the graphics for it. I think it looks
pretty awesome, huh?
And I heard maybe Street Fighter 4 might be coming. So
yeah. We probably won't hear anything until next year, but I'm looking forward to that one too. So, what is your preferred weapon of choice? Wired, wireless, controller, arcade stick?
Yeah, I like this
we
question.
just heard, Jax from the Dallas Venom actually just reported to me that Master has given up the arcade stick. He's gone
Thank
back
God.
to the pads.
He was straight up better before he started using that thing, dude. Seriously, he would rape fools.
He gave it up,
and
dude.
then he got beat at the ACG, and then he was like, "Wait a minute, that guy used a strange-looking arcade pad. Maybe I'll try that." And then he wasn't the same guy ever since. So I look forward to.
He got second at DOA
Yes.
Tech, and
Yeah.
Yeah. And who was he beat by, Rance? Do you want to take a guess?
Who did he get beat by? I don't know.
PL.
Yeah.
Perfect Legend beat him
And
on
Perfect
his
Legend and
arcade pad. Doesn't Perfect Legend play on an arcade pad?
No.
too?
I don't know. He uses both, but I don't know what he used in the tournament. So he switches between the two.
Okay.
So what is your weapon of choice? Wired, wireless, controller, arcade stick?
Wired.
Wired,
Modded
straight
wired.
up. Modded too?
Yes,
Okay,
modded
so explain to us. We had Susie and Master give us the breakdown, but we want to hear your interpretation. You modify your 360 controller, right? Tell us how you modify it.
Well, basically, I don't know how to do it, but my friend Kasumi-chan actually knows how to wire or mod the controller. So basically, you get the old controller as like original Xbox.
Like the old Xbox, the one that weighed like 8 pounds.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah.
It doesn't have to be the Duke, but just the regular original Xbox. Yeah, I like the Duke actually. But anyway, you take out the little
The actual D-pad, right?
Yeah, and then you take it and you have to trim some things on it, and then you stick it to the 360 and you just kind of mess with it, and you just have a new D-pad by the end of the day.
So if someone were to see a 360 controller that had a black D-pad, it's not,
modded.
it's not anything special that they bought anywhere. It's just that modded D-pad. And actually, at the Region 1 Combine, I saw quite a few. I mean, pretty much if we were to say the top 10 DOA players probably use the same thing.
Yeah, it's because the 360 D-pad is kind of like stiff.
Right.
And the original Xbox D-pad
little-
was actually pretty good.
so it's
a lot
like
of people
looser, right?
Yeah, a lot of people just stick them back in there.
Interesting.
Do you
So
think, does Microsoft care about that? I mean, did they come to you guys and be like, well, what kind of a D-pad should we
you voided your warranty, goddammit!
Well, I mean, Microsoft seems to play a big part in these pro gaming stuff. I don't understand why they're making crappy hardware that no one wants to use.
I just don't think that they want to use that particular D-pad. I don't think it's a matter of like the 360 controller being bad hardware.
I'd wanna
It's
go to
more
the
like
experts,
you just,
man.
it's what's comfortable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it has a lot to do, I'm guessing here, and Vanessa will tell us, it has a lot to do with like the specific moves that you're executing, right?
Yep.
Because, if you have like, say, a camera, you're doing the Azuna drop, you have to do like a 360. It's more difficult on the
Swirly with the
360
D-pad?
pad, right?
Yeah.
Versus, okay.
I actually could do it
Swirly.
pretty perfectly on the original, but then the 360 was like, he just stood there. He's like, oh, you want me to do a Zuner drop? No, thank you.
Okay. So what is after DOA for Vanessa? Like you have started to make a name for yourself.